when the pizza shop is destroyed and his brother just unloads in that monologue, what's the point of knowing all that kung fu jive if you never use it anyway, coward? It really hurts him. And he starts to cry. To his credit, 19-year-old Taimak in his first film actually sheds tears. And his mom gives him a hug because his mom knows this is Harlem. This is the 80s. This is the Reagan era. It is rough. People are broke, Crack is just about to take over. People are hustling. A lot of brothers, 19 years old, like Bruce Leeroy, they're not quoting, Sun Tzu and those type of things and bowing and genuflecting in respect. A lot of brothers are hustling and doing dirt because they feel like they have no choice. So he's a diamond out there, man, in the rough. And his mom gives him a hug because, you know what, son, I'm glad that you didn't actually, fall back into doing dirt. You're a good guy, and I love you regardless. And also shout out to moms for throwing pizza dough in people's faces.
That was the best pizza dough throwing I've ever seen in my life. He gets smacked right in the face. Oh, that's
Mom's
beautiful.
Not playing. She was not playing. Oh, no, you did. Oh, my God. She's getting ready to throw the metal containers at those guys, man.
That's not even mine. And so, you know what's wild, too, about that scene is you felt each table. It was, you felt it. It was really interesting. It was like, when I started a pizza place, people thought I was crazy. But
Yo, people thought I was weird. A black man with a pizza shop. But now everybody in the neighborhood knows the phrase, just directing your pizza to Daddy Green's Pizza. Shout out to Pops, who they absolutely made sure looked like James Evans from Good Times. He has James Evans from Good Times energy, and that was not an accident.
Watching Leeroy Green try to pull that off with his different accents.
Hey, my man, what it look like? Hey, my man, what it look like? And then finally just, hey, my man, what it look like?
They're just dancing. Did you ever wear one of those see-through shirts that one of those guys is wearing? It's a shirt, but it's completely see-through.
It looks like a fishnet?
Yeah.
The fishnet, you don't understand how big, that wasn't big in Florida in the 80s? That was huge in New York, especially if you were in shape.
Florida's just big, like, shirts.
Which is odd because it's incredibly humid in Florida, so I don't understand.
Jinko jeans. Well, I grew up, like, I don't have a good representation of Florida because I do. I grew up in Hudson, Florida. And so I went to Hudson Elementary, Hudson Middle, Hudson High. And then when my dad moved to St. Pete, I'd go there every other weekend. It was like a bigger city. So I had a very, like, and it's much bigger now. It's grown up, but it was a different version of Florida. So I didn't quite, like, I wore jean shorts. Like, I wore big shirts. Like, the 90s were big shirts.
Yes,
I would say. And so I just I wore big basketball shirts with ducks exploding through them, or like Godzilla, Charles Barkley wrestling with Godzilla, but 2 sizes too big.
We all made odd choices, man. I played basketball in construction boots more than once, These are weird times.
You know what I think is the good lesson, too, about this movie is I think there's so many people in nowadays when they do something when they don't have to. So let's say you're walking on a trail and there's someone walking in the middle, right? And you're like, that's annoying. So you just walk and you bump into them. You don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they go out of their way you don't have to. So watching him be this, I think it's a good example. Like, I wish I would have watched it when I was a kid because I was a maniac. Like, just watch the self-restraint. Like you don't have to do this. You don't have to. Like, I think you protect yourself when you learn that you have to. Like, you don't have, like, going out of your way. Like, he didn't have to fight him at the theater. He didn't have to. Right? He didn't have to fight him. But eventually he had to. You have to meet this guy. And I think that's a good lesson to learn where, you're mad at a car, so you cut it off. You don't have to cut that car off. Who knows what they have? Like, it's just, you teach that self-restraint, but also learning when you have to take care of yourself. And I'm telling you, man, I love this character. I know he's a 19-year-old kid, but I like it. Like, it's very, I'm telling you, this movie's a very refreshing experience.
Well, the problem is, this is one of the things that Taimak mentions, that the movie was the way that they marketed it and the way that they were trying to put it out there, it wasn't conducive to the movie making money. I'm taking this now directly from the epic novel, aka autobiography, Taimak, The Last Dragon. Signed copy from Taimak himself. That's right. That's my man. So what you're saying, where the Rotten Tomatoes critics and the other critics, they just look at this as a quote unquote black movie, for lack of a better word. And he mentions this. He says There were some troubles with marketing, though. There was a power struggle between TriStar and Barry on how to market the picture. TriStar wanted to call the movie a black film, quote unquote, and market it exclusively to African American viewers. Barry Gordy, however, wanted the film to relate to everyone, and it does. Look how this movie touched you. Is this your first time seeing it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, but even then, the first time you see it, you're rooting for Bruce Leeroy. You know who the bad guys are. You get the idea that this dude can literally kill you with his bare hands, but he doesn't. He has incredible restraint. He's a good guy. So Barry, however, wanted the film to relate to everyone, black, white, young, old, and he felt it would have a wide appeal. Unfortunately, TriStar ignored his advice, ultimately released The Last Dragon without any advertising to the white community. And even still, under these circumstances, the movie enjoyed great success. It reached number 2 in box office sales in the country. He made the cover of many African-American teen magazines. The film was gaining a lot of popularity with African-American fans, but The Last Dragon just wasn't given the opportunity to find a wider audience that it deserved. And this is the thing.
Why argue with Barry Gordy? I mean, he kind of knows what he's doing,
Yeah. How do you not listen to the head of Motown?
Yeah.
He drops another point. He says to stay near the top of weekly box office sales, a film needs to be marketed to the vast American audience, black, white, and everyone in between. A movie like Sylvester Stallone's Rocky didn't have many well-known faces, but the movie was a huge success because of the great story and the fact that it was marketed to everyone. The Last Dragon wasn't marketed to a wide audience, and there weren't any big stars to help get the film any support from the mainstream press. I mean, Vanity, she had the Vanity 6 group, but that was okay. She had left it by the time this movie came out.
I guess you're right about the A-list. Like, let's look at the action movies at the time. View to a Kill, right? You have Bond. Then you have Commando, Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Part 2, yes.
Beyond Thunderdome, like American Ninja. Police Story, but they didn't see that around here.
Right.
I guess Remo Williams, Death Wish 3.
Remo Williams failed.
I mean, Runaway Train was good, but Invasion USA.
There's no way Death Wish 3 made more money than The Last Dragon.
And I guess they were that's the kind of movie that was being released to mass markets at the time. And so this Outlier comes out. It's not a black movie. It's pretty universal, man.
It's not.
I hate that term. It's very reductive. And I don't know.
It is.
So that movie Girls Trip?
Yes. That movie's hilarious.
Yeah. And so the director was talking about it, and if you go through a lot of the articles about it, they're like the surprise hit, like the sleeper hit. He's like, I made a ton of successful movies. He's like, look at the cast I have. They made a ton of successful movies. He's like, this isn't a sleeper hit.
Right. It's a slight dig at the movie.
Yeah.
And so this movie becomes a black movie because the cast is predominantly African American. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing, Bruce Leeroy is not the typical black guy from Harlem in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's not even that, This guy is a fish out of water in his own town. His brother is constantly clowning him. And his parents, they love him. God bless him. His parents love him 100% unconditionally. As much as Richie, his brother, not for nothing, is constantly calling him gay. Yeah. When he's saying that you're weird and you don't know how to use it and you had it locked up so long, you might hurt her if he's just constantly doing these homophobic comments to his brother. Yeah, he rises above all of that. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Peace is my strength. That's what I do. Peace is my strength. He's a good character for all time, I dare say.
I agree. They were telling stories about him walking around Chinatown with that outfit on. And
those guys in
Chinatown, though, they're kind of, I love the switch. They're looking at him, he's looking at them, and they're dancing. The people really enjoy their dancing, by the way.
That is, I don't know how it is in Florida, but that's a big thing in New York. I'm not sure. I haven't been home in a long time, but you get on the train, breakdancing might occur. Things might happen. I myself used to be one of those kids on the train that they used to, I hate that guy. I would just bust freestyle raps with my friends. We would just bang out beats on the door and just start rapping or singing or whatever. This is the way the city's a vibrant, lively place.
See, I grew up on Highway 19, and the only place to get somewhere is to drive. So if people are dancing on the side of the road, it's probably like a meth addict being chased by bees. So I mean, it's yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen. Like I actually did I did get into a dance off my junior year of high school with a guy that could dance, and I danced terribly in front of the whole school. I just did it. It was bad. But everyone loved it. But everyone loved it because I didn't care. I was like, I was like Leeroy on this. I showed zero I just could care less. I had fun with it. And everyone's like, that was fun. And they tried to make me do it again. It didn't work as well. But,
I believe in you and all things are possible.
It was bad.
Through the hall.
I guess, this movie it has a good story. It has a good, Sho'nuff, man. Like, that's a good villain. Right there.
Rest in peace, Julius Carey. Also, rest in peace, brother Richie, Leo, brother of Master G.
Oh wow!
From the Sugar Hill Gang. Yeah. So there was hip hop royalty by proxy in this movie.
It's the villain. His shoulder pads. He even had a second in command henchman that was good. I liked all of his like the gang members just threatening, like when the ladies start threatening Leeroy. She's like, ha.
That's right. And to take another quote from the Taimak Gorello book, Taimak the Last Dragon, an autobiography by Taimak, he says, I will also never forget shooting the scene where Sho'nuff and his gang kick down the doors and make their challenge. Julius and the actors who played his gang stayed in character through the entire time on set, and everyone was intimidated by them. So he was a character actor, man. He was on some real Philip Seymour Hoffman stuff. No one had to act like they were scared. We really were, even the crew members. Julius had a way of capturing your attention I'll never forget, and his performance really taught me how to grab an audience. Rest in peace, Julius.
Taimak was telling a story about how he came in the trailer and was messing with him, and he really pissed him off. So Taimak chased him around the set. So this little 19-year-old chasing this 6'7" guy around the set because he made him that mad. So he pissed him off on set.
He looks massive when they have that final fight in the warehouse. Dude.
Yeah, and he's jacked for like 6'7". He could have been an action star.
Does he look massive? But he's lean.
Yeah.
Cut. He's cut like Brad Pitt in Snatch in Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
Just smooth and just terrifying. You wouldn't know that he didn't know how to do martial arts because the way he does his hands, the sneer, his posture, he was brilliant. And also, perhaps the most quotable movie of 1985 is The Last Dragon. What, you got a favorite quote?
Oh,
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I couldn't even, oh man.
I'll give you a few. He bursts into the movie theater, right? While people are watching the Bruce Lee flick, Game of Death, classic, okay? He bursts in the theater. He does his Who Am I Sho'nuff call and response. And then Beast, out of nowhere, just says, that's the only guy that stands between show and total supremacy. And I'm like, supremacy of what?
Yeah, what?
What is there some underground fight thing going on? And then you realize Sho'nuff actually does have a fight club where he just beats the life out of people.
They're doing up or down with the thumbs, and he just punches them. Kiss my Converse.
There's a quotable right there.
And I love when that guy's getting beat up, and his girlfriend's like, "Don't hurt that face, baby." And she's like, "Oh,
yes. Credit to representation.
Yeah. Go fix your face." Well, the director said in that audience, he went and would watch movies downtown, and he would see some of these Bruce Lee movies, and he's like, everybody was there. Everybody. Like, everyone was watching it. And so he wanted to make sure the theater represented that. And so it was fun. Like, everyone's just, that one dude, that big burly guy with the pink third of a shirt.
Yes, the tank top. That is not unusual for New York, man. It's not unusual. That movie is such a snapshot of New York across a wide variety of cultures. This is another reason why it's watchable and it's classic. Another quote I've used before even. I got something real for your ass in these hands, boy.
Oh yeah. He's skinny.
I say that before I play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
He's skinny little lizard.
Man, the insults. There's a lot. You got chump. You got square. Cool breeze. Shrimp fried rice head, chopsticks. Chopsticks is an insult. Did you know that?
But he comes up to them dressed like what would you say? In like, what's that outfit? Like, is that what the hat and everything? Is that Chinese?
So when Bruce Leeroy comes up to them?
Yeah, remember when he walks up to that some dumb guy and he's dressed up like Like, he has the hat, and then they take the hat from him.
Yes, he's